This is ATN Global News. First, the headlines. Fubara warns residents against the marketing state. Labour begins indefinite strike Monday. Tinubu vows to sack non-performing minister. Nama urges FG to reverse 50% IGR deduction. NATO boss dismisses Putin's nuclear war threats. Kiss Daniel dedicates new song to wife. Mourinho becomes Fenerbahce's new manager. And now the rest of our stories. Rivers State Governor Siminalayi Fubara has warned residents of the state against the market in rivers, saying it only chases away investors. The governor spoke on Friday, May 31st, when received a delegation of leaders and members of the Rivers State Waste Management Agency who were on a solidarity walk to the government house gate in Port Harcourt. Fubara, who was represented by the head of Rivers State Civil Service, Dr. George Mweke, promised that the social contract between his administration and Rivers people will remain an unbroken bond to drive governance. He asked members of Riwama to redouble their efforts and make sure that refuse waste were cleared off the streets, promptly to have a cleaner city always. The governor, in a statement signed by his chief press secretary, appreciated the daily toiling to make sure that the states of Port Harcourt and the environs were free of refuse. In his remark, the leader of the delegation and chairman of the Riwama Service Providers Association, Comrade Andrew Ijeba, said they embarked on a solidarity walk to join in the ongoing celebration of the 1-year in office anniversary of the governor. Analysts have tasked Governor Fubara to concentrate on governance. Speaking on Atlantic Open Conversation, a socio-political analyst, Asim Adams, stated that politics at the time of governance is quite detrimental, adding that every political progression inherits both the assets and liability of its predecessors.
Like I have said before now, is talking, with due respect, talking in a roundabout manner, standing bellicose against Yesowike, against perceived opposition, etc., as the case may be. As if we are on a rendezvous or a circus of campaigns again. I don't know whether elections are coming up by November of this year in Rivers State. I don't know. Maybe I'll find out later. It's like we're on it.
Explaining further, Asim Adams maintained that it is unconstitutional to divulge sensitive information of an executive office in the bid to criticize the administration that campaigned him into power.
The governor have the baptismal right to appropriate and reprobate. I don't think so. By doctrine of extopel, he's been stopped from complaining about whether liabilities he inherited or whatever from the past administration of which he was a part of. What am I trying to say? He has called all these perfidious. He said the workers want 10,000, he's not there. He came, he said the government was owing a backlog of loans and have not paid. He said a lot of negative things about the past administration. But have you forgotten, Mr. Governor, that it was based on this platter mantra and the manifesto that was used by the predecessor to bring you to office? He campaigned with those things to Rivers people. He used that. We are recruiting 10,000. We have done this, we have done that. We are not owing.
Recall Governor Siminalayi Fubara of Rivers State has said his administration inherited 34 uncompleted road projects worth over 225 billion naira from his predecessor, Nyesom Wike. Men of the Rivers State Police Command have arrested a suspect identified as a Mecca who allegedly led the gang rape of the wife of a pastor, Chibuwe Jim Stewart, to death in the Abaripo community and Ahuda East local government area of the state. The suspect, after quarreling with Mrs. Stewart earlier, that they brought to her house at midnight with his gang of on February 12th, 2023, kidnaps the woman and ferried her to an unknown destination. The suspect was said to have fled from the community after getting information that the police were on his trail. The deceased husband, an assistant pastor with Seventh-day Adventist Church in the Barikbo community, lawyer Stewart, while speaking with newsmen, confirmed the suspect's arrest. He alleged that the maker and his gang are members of a cult group in Iceland, saying when his wife was kidnapped, they had taken her to their hideout and gang raped and killed her. When contacted, the spokesperson of the State Police Command, Grace Iringekoko, said she would find out from the Divisional Police Office and get back to our correspondent. Bayelsa State Police Command has identified and arrested a police officer who allegedly shot a 40-year-old electrician. The electrician, who is identified as Banalayefa Boko Asie, was allegedly shot due to a fracas over 200 naira along the Aziko Road in Yenagoa Metropolis. Associates of the late electrician, who pleaded anonymity, told correspondent that the late electrician was heading home from work in his vehicle at about 8 p.m. on Tuesday, where he was shot by the policeman attached to the Bayelsa State Security outfit. Operation Do Apo, due to his refusal to give the police officer 200 naira bribe. The deceased, who was hailed from Bobo Ubeni community in Burutu, local government area of Delta State, was said to be with another person in the vehicle when the incident occurred. Having kept mum silence since the incident occurred, the Bayelsa State Police Command on Friday finally confirmed the incident via a phone call with our correspondent, divulging that the suspected police officer has already been arrested and in custody. The public relations officer of the command, Musa Mohammed, also said the investigation to ascertain what led to the fracas between the officer and the deceased is underway. Economic and Financial Crimes Commission has arrested 40 suspected internet fraudsters in Akwa Ibom State. The suspects were arrested in an early morning sting operation at 2 different locations in the state. The anti-graft agency said 21 of the all-male suspects were arrested in Eket, while the remaining 19 were picked up in Ikotepene. The commission recovered a Toyota SUV, 9 laptop computers, 64 smartphones, 1 internet router, and a smartwatch from the suspect. It added that they will be charged to court upon conclusion of investigation. Edo State Commissioner of Police, Fushon Adeboye, has given an assurance of police neutrality in all activities concerning the forthcoming governorship election in the state. He said that no individual or political party will be allowed to hijack any of the electoral processes leading to the September 16th election. Adeboye spoke with newsmen in Benin shortly after a closed-door meeting between INEC Chairman Prof. Mahmoud Yakubu and security agencies. The CP said that impartiality was paramount for the successful conduct of the state election. He said that a level of playing field will be provided for all political players in the election. He assured INEC that there would be appropriate synergy among security agencies in preparing for election, including in riverine areas and terrains that are difficult. On his part, INEC Chairman Yakubu described the meeting as a routine engagement. Military High Command has promised to bring overwhelming pressure on the proscribed indigenous peoples of Biafra over the killing of 5 soldiers at a checkpoint at Aba in Abia on Wednesday. Director of Defense Media Operation, Major General Edward Buba, made this known in a statement on Friday in Abuja. Buba said the military would be fierce in its response to the dastardly act and would bring overwhelming military pressure on the group to ensure their total defeat. He said the troops of Operation Udoka deployed at Obikabia Junction checkpoints in Obingwa local government areas adjoining Abia Metropolis in Abia were attacked and sadly killed by terrorists. According to him, the troops deployed to enforce peace in the area and protect the citizens were masked and attacked by the terrorists. He said the terrorists, who were in 3 tinted Prado Toyota SUVs and others from built-up areas surrounding the checkpoint, sprang a surprise attack on the checkpoints. Abia State government has placed a 25 million naira bounty on the killers of 5 soldiers in Aba area of the state and also condoled with the Chief of Army Staff, Torid Labaja, over the incident. Gunmen on Thursday stormed the military unit at Obikabia Junction, Obo Hill area, and also burned the unit as well as a patrol van parked in the unit. Some soldiers were alleged to have escaped the attack by the gunmen. A day after the incident, the state government described it as unfortunate and prayed for the repose of the souls of the gallant soldiers who died on active duty. The state government commiserated with the Chief of Army Staff, Major General Torid A. Labaja, and the military high command in the country for the unfortunate incident and prayed for the peaceful repose of the soul of the gallant soldiers who died in active duty. Ikeja Chief Magistrate's Court on Friday remanded a couple in a correctional center for sexually assaulting their 18-year-old niece. Magistrate E. Kubwenje remanded James Uwana and Michelle Uwana in Kirikiri Correctional Center until June 25th, when they will face trial. The couple was charged with conspiracy and sexual assault. The prosecutor, Inspector John Iberedim, told the court that the defendants allegedly committed the offense on 5th and 6th May at number 42 Oje Olufemi Street, Igado area of Lagos. Iberedim submitted that the couple sexually assaulted the 18-year-old niece of the man who was living with them. The prosecution said the offense contravened the provision of sections 261, 263, subsection 1, and 411 of the Criminal Laws of Lagos State 2015. Sexual assault attracts 3 years jail term, while sexual assault by penetration is punishable with life imprisonment if convicted. National Association of Nigerian Students has demanded transparency in implementing the student loan scheme. The apex student body in the country called on the federal government to appoint individuals of unquestionable integrity and competence to oversee the disbursement of the loan. This, NAN said, would ensure the scheme's success and guarantee its sustainability. The national president of NANS, Pedro Obi, made the call in a statement made available to journalists in Abeokuta on Friday. NANS also called for urgent action on the alleged deportation of Nigerian students from Tisedi University in UK for defaulting on their school fees. NANS insisted that the federal government must take immediate and decisive action to protect the rights and futures of students abroad. While commending President Bola Tinubu-led administration for initiating the student loan scheme, NANS called on the government to engage all relevant stakeholders in the implementation of the scheme. Osun Magistrate Court sitting in Ile-Ife on Friday remanded a 25-year-old man at Debisi Kola for allegedly beating a woman to death. The police charged Kola with assault and homicide. Magistrate Kikelomi Adebayo did not take Kola's plea on grounds that his court lacked the jurisdiction to hear the case. She therefore ordered that he should be remanded in Ile-Ife Correctional Center pending legal advice from the Office of Director of Public Prosecutions. The magistrate adjourned the matter until June 21st for mention. Earlier, the prosecutor, Inspector Sando Osanyituyi, told the court that Kola committed the offense on April 15, 2024, around 4 p.m. at Bata area in Ile-Ife. The offense is said is punishable under Section 319 of the Criminal Code, Volume 11, Laws of Osun 2002. Kola was represented in court by his counsel, Mr. Michael Babatunde. Iyakangu Magistrates Court in Ibadan on Friday ordered the remand of a 33-year-old man, Kabiru Ariwa, in a correctional facility for allegedly killing his 24-year-old wife, Seliyat Ariwa, who addresses was not provided, was charged with murder. The magistrate, Mr. Olaolu Olanipeku, did not take the plea of the defendant for want of jurisdiction. He directed the police to return the case file to direction of public prosecution for legal advice and thereafter adjourn the case until June 28th for mention. The prosecutor, ASP Anthony Igori, had earlier told the court that the defendant committed the offense on May 22nd at about 8 p.m. at the Oluloyo area of Ibadan. Igori said the defendant unlawfully caused the death of his wife by hitting her with a fist blow on the chest. He said the offense was contrary to Section 319 of the Criminal Laws of Oyo State 2000. Federal government has sealed an illegal mining site at Gwabu, Kuje Area Council of the Federal Capital Territory, arresting 3 suspects in its ongoing effort to combat illegal mining and revenue loss in the mining sector. A statement from the Ministry of Solid Mineral Development said the operation carried out by the mining marshals led by Assistant Commander John Onoja Atta was made possible through meticulous intelligence gathering and surveillance. It noted that preliminary investigations revealed that the suspects lacked any document authorizing their inactivities on the site. The statement added that the legitimate mining company with the necessary permits for the same location was unable to access the site due to the illegal miners' activities and resistance. The suspects were said to have voluntarily confessed to the offense of illegal mining, admitting to having been operating on the site for over a year. At the time of their arrest, over 2,000 tons of lithium was on the ground, highlighting the scale of the illegal operation according to the statement. Analysts have stated that an extensive train service for states in the country will help to boost both the economic and tourist advantage of Nigeria. Speaking at Atlantic Television Blowout, the socio-political emphasized on the need for a more active train services across the country.
Countries, European countries, many countries in the world, the train service is very efficiently run. And it has helped to create employment, it has helped to decongest the roads, it has helped to improve service delivery. I will want to say that the government should please implement this promise. Nigerians have heard so much about promises.
Right.
And with
Emmanuel Judd described transportation as a life wire of an active society.
Life wire of any economy. For there to be an economic growth or for economic development to take place, you must have to invest in transportation. And the train ride should not just end in Abuja. I think they should spread it across the country.
Recall, President Bola Tinubu has approved the extension of free train rides in Abuja Rail Mass Transit, also called the Metro Trail, for the next 6 months until end of the year. National Agency for Food and Drugs Administration and Control has seized over 100 worth of illicit and dangerous drugs from motor parks and markets across Abuja. According to a statement via X, the agency's investigation and enforcement Federal Task Force Directorate and Department of State Services conducted raids targeting drug hawkers at multiple locations, including Area 1 Motor Park, Dunamis Market Gaki, Zuba Market, Inyaya Motor Park, and Asokoro over 2 days. The agency reported that 20 suspects were arrested and over 50 wares of illegal and dangerous drugs were confiscated, including tramadol, 225 milligram, refinol, diazepam, codamol, aphrodisiacs, and codeine syrups. The operation, which was coordinated by the Kaduna and Abuja I&E FTF forces, is part of an ongoing effort to rid public spaces of illegal drugs hawking and ensure public safety. Abuja Electricity Distribution Company has vowed to disconnect all customers with outstanding bills by Monday, June 3, 2024. This was contained in a statement by its head marketing and corporate communication, Adefisayo Akinsaya, on Friday morning. The company gave the affected customers 72 hours notice to settle their outstanding bills to avoid service disruption. AEDC emphasized the importance of adhering to payment deadlines to ensure efficient and reliable service. The timely payment of electricity bill, said Akinsaya, remains crucial for the continued operation and enhancement of AEDC's infrastructure, which is a service to the community. Niger State Command of the Nigerian Security and Civil Defense Corps said it has intercepted 2 trailers suspected to be transporting vandalized railway sleepers in Mokwa local government area of Niger State. Niger State NSCDC Commandant Joachim Okafor stated this during a press briefing in his office on Friday. According to him, the command anti-vandal squad, who were working on intelligence, made a seizure along Mokwa Road in Niger State. Upon sighting the officers, the drivers were said to have taken to the hills, abandoning the trucks. The command said it believed the drivers were associates. He, however, added that an investigation is ongoing to unmask the owner of the trailers and the vandalized railway sleepers. The state commandant asked perpetrators of the economic sabotage to stop making Niger a transit point, as the command will continue to respond to information from the public to arrest and prosecute criminals. Niger State Governor Muhammad Umaru Bago has approved a reduction of registration fees for all students studying at Abdul Kadir Kure University, Mina, by 50%. He explained that the move was part of efforts to ease the burden on parents following the removal of fuel subsidy. In a statement signed by the Pro-Chancellor Abdul Kadir Kure University, Mina, Professor Mohammed Yahya Kuta, Bago said the gesture aims to alleviate the compounded financial hardships. The university explained that all students studying regular courses in the institution are to enjoy the total relief of a 50% reduction in the registration fee in the ongoing 2023-2024 academic session. It further employed beneficiaries of the government's kind gesture to reciprocate by being more committed to their studies for the development of the state and humanity at large. Gombe State government, through the task force on the closure of local nightclubs and illegal joint areas of the state. Local nightclubs are popularly known as Gidan Galas houses where illicit activities are allegedly perpetrated. Recall that recently some buildings were demolished following the activities of immoral acts in the metropolis. Governor Muhammadu Yahya indicated the extension when he held a meeting with the state task force and local government chairman on Friday. Represented at the meeting by the Secretary to Government of the state, Professor Ibrahim Jodi, the governor noted that though the demolition of gala houses and illegal joints is in line with his administration's commitment to ensuring the same extends to the local council for a holistic value, reorientation, and crime dismantling. The governor explained that further deliberation is expected between the council chairman and the task force in order to identify and zero in on gala houses and illegal joints, considered to be a breeding ground for social vices. Islamic State West Africa Province tourists have given residents of Kukawa local government notice to quit their communities or face death from the terror group. This is coming barely 4 days after the terrorist group killed 15 fishermen in the Tumbom Rogo community. A resident who escaped from his community to Maiduguri 3 hours after receiving the threat revealed this to Channels Television. Explaining his experience, the resident who pleaded and the monitor said the terrorists had gathered residents of various communities in the local government area in the early hours of Thursday and told them to vacate their homes before Saturday, or else they would be killed. He said after receiving the threat from the terrorists, locals started vacating their communities, some to cross Kawa while others left for Mongono. Military task force in charge of maintaining peace in Plateau State has declared 11 persons wanted. Deputy Commander of Operation Safe Haven, Tezungwe Iyua, disclosed this during a press conference in Jos on Friday. According to him, the persons declared wanted were all males. They include Mohamedou MP, Mohammed Mopol, Rabiu Ibrahim, Buba Sobe, Senfos Gain, Nahaska Boderi, Dudi Mohamadu, Habu Mohamadu, Jafaru Matakala, Hassan Waje, and Sanusi Dafo. U.S. said the suspects were declared wanted in connection with various attacks that left several persons dead and properties destroyed in various parts of the state. The deputy commander urged anyone with useful information on the whereabouts of the wanted suspects to kindly contact Operation Safe Haven, the Nigerian Police Force, and the Department of State Service. He said a handsome reward awaits any person or group of persons who provide useful information leading to the arrest of any of the wanted suspects. Trial of Mrs. Rose Duffy, one of the 89 staff of the National Examination Council, dismissed in 2020 over allegation of certificate forgery, has been stalled following her absence in the Plateau State High Court just when the case was called on Thursday. Duffy had been charged to court by the Independent Corrupt Practices and Other Related Offences Commission over allegation of forgery of her academic certificate while she was a staff of NECO. During a nationwide certificate verification exercise conducted by NECO in 2020 for members of staff, 89 workers were indicted and confirmed to be using fake certificates. The Council's governing board thereafter offered the dismissal of the 89 workers and transferred their files to the ICPC and the Nigerian Police for prosecution. When the case was called at the court on Thursday before Justice G.D. Foyon, counsel to the defendant, Mr. P. M. Larry told the court that this client only got a call at about 9:30 p.m. on Wednesday to receive the charge and to be arraigned the next day. After listening to the submission of the counsels, the trial judge, Justice Foyem, ruled that the defendant be served through a substituted means and a lawyer should ensure her presence in court at the next adjourned date. The trial is adjourned to 21st of June 2024 for the defendant to take her plea. Upper Sharia Court sitting in Kano on Friday fixed July 4th to hear the suit filed against Shafiu Abubakar, 38, for allegedly setting a mosque on fire, killing 14 people. Abubakar, who lives in Gezawa local government area of Kano, is charged with mischief by fire, causing grievous hurt and culpable homicide. The offences are said to have contravened the provision of sections 336, 241, and 221 of Kano State Sharia Penal Code law. At the resumed sitting, the Prosecution Counsel, Director of Public Prosecution, Kano State Ministry of Justice, Salisu Tahiri, told the court that he received a copy of the case diary from the police. The defendant was alleged to have set fire to a mosque in Laraba, Abasawa village of Gezawa local government area of Kano State, and locked the doors, trapping worshippers in a burning fire on May 15th. The defendant pleaded guilty to all the 3 count charge. The presiding judge, Malam Halatu Ziraya, ordered the prosecution counsel to finish the defense counsel with all the facilities concerning the case. Zakaria ordered the remand of the defendant in the correctional center and adjourned the matter until July 4th for hearing. Emir of Kano, Alhaji Muhammadu Sanusi, has emphasized the importance of unwavering faith in God's will, urging followers to accept divine decisions without question. Emir Sanusi gave the counsel in a sermon at the Kofa Ariwa Central Mosque during Jamaat's prayer on Friday. Addressing congregants, Emir Sanusi highlighted the significance of believing God's omnipotence, especially as the Islamic calendar approaches Zul Hajjah, a month known for its spiritual benefits. Kano State Police Command had earlier on Friday refuted claims that the 15th Emir of Kano, Aminu Ado Bayero, will lead the Jamaat prayers at the Kofa Kudu Central Mosque. Both Sanusi and Bayero have been embroiled in a dispute over the Kano throne, causing confusion among the city's residents. Governor Abba Kabir Yusuf recently dethroned Ado Bayero, instructing him to vacate the throne he had occupied for 4 years. Despite this, Bayero returned to Kano under military protection and has since been operating from a mini palace. You're watching the Global News in Atlantic Television Network. We will be back after this break.
I hope nobody carry belle.
Why you ask, oh?
Because this road where they see so, it no guarantee safe delivery.
We just dey vote for government, but we not get good governance.
At all.
Road so e no dey. Light usai. The infrastructure nko, e come turn to be forbidden fruit for the city.
Corruption, well everything. Hello?
Hello, madam. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
My name is Mrs. Ayeni. I am calling from the Ministry of Humanitarian Affairs.
Okay. Okay, I've been expecting your call.
Madam, remove this your phone from loudspeaker.
No vex, now my phone be like that. Hello?
Are you there?
I hear, I'm hearing you.
Yes. We saw a copy of your invoice for computers, printers, and laptops.
Yes. Are you working on them now?
Ma, the prices you quoted are way too high now.
Madam, sorry, please don't cost.
We found the laptop you said is 1.8 million naira for 600,000 naira.
Hello?
Now my body network there.
I can't hear you. Network is bad.
Madam, we can hear you. Continue.
Hello, I can't hear you. I will call you back.
Their behavior not good now.
Madam, now this kind behavior they kill our country. You suppose do things differently, make Nigeria for better.
This message is brought to you by the Akinfade Foundation, the MacArthur Foundation,
and with broadcast support from Atlantic Television Network.
I don't get a lot. Boy, they won't booga me small. They say, man, give them bribe. I say, nothing. Okay, now, we'll go block later. You remember that contract we will do that time now? They don't pay.
But first, you see the house rent with the old since. We go first call caretaker, take the money, slap am.
Beg, see, you know, say I get annual levy why they pay for club. Where me and boys they shark beer in our house, I supposed pay that one. You remember say me I tell you I go buy you motor. I go buy am now.
Okay, they pay you money now. We don't they beg caretaker? Why would they beg landlord, old man, and they agree give us time? Money can't come now. You won't divert time. You said na corruption. Corruption, not in my house and not in my country.
Sure?
Sure.
Corruption not in my country. This message is brought to you by the Akinfade Foundation, the MacArthur Foundation,
and with broadcast support from Atlantic Television Network.
Welcome back. This is the Global News and Atlantic Television Network. Now to the rest of our stories. President Bola Ahmed Tinubu has vowed to sack any non-performing member in his cabinet. Tinubu made a promise at a meeting with the leadership of Arewa Constitutive Forum at the Presidential Villa, Abuja. He commended all the ministers for their respective efforts so far, asking them to be more in the renewed hope agenda. According to him, as long as we are together and we have to be together, there is strength in our diversity. Our strengths and opportunity are built into our population. President Bola Tinubu has justified the reintroduction of the old national anthem, Nigeria We Hail Thee, saying it was a priority for him. Tinubu has signed a bill bringing back the old national anthem in a move that triggered criticism from several quarters. But during the meeting with the Arewa Consultative Forum at the Presidential Villa in Abuja, Tinubu dismissed the critics, insisting the reintroduction of the old anthem is not a misplaced priority, as some have argued. At the meeting, President Tinubu also canvassed for national unity, saying the country's diversity makes it unique. Presidency has launched a new initiative to empower vulnerable citizens through community engagement with a focus on grassroots development and humanitarian growth. The Presidential Community Engagement Office, created by President Bola Tinubu, aims to bridge the gap between the government and local communities, particularly the poor and vulnerable. Speaking to journalists during the launch of the Southwest Initiative for Transformation Projects, the Senior Special Assistant to the President on Community Engagement, Southwest, Moremi Ojudu, said the office was served as a super facilitator between government agencies and local communities, ensuring that citizens are aware of government policies, programs, and projects that can improve their lives. According to Ojudu, the Empowerment Initiative will focus on 5 key areas: agriculture, education, enterprise, development, health, and primary health care restoration. By engaging with local communities and providing them with the necessary resources and support, the presidency hopes to restore trust and confidence in government and promote efficient progress. By taking development back to the grassroots, she said, the presidency hopes to create a sense of ownership and responsibility among citizens and promote sustainable growth and development. Analysts have expressed grievances following the rise in child abuse and trafficking across Africa. Speaking at Atlantic Society Watch, a public affairs analyst, Chukwu Ikechukwu, stated that child abuse and trafficking must be properly tackled as it does not speak well of Africa.
We grew up in an era of command and all that. Even when we return to democracy, it has been difficult to change that mindset. Now you are introduced, and this, to me, should call for concern for those who think violence is the means of resolving issues. What are your plans when you opt for a violent approach to resolving issues? To recruit children? Come on, that's unfair. Then other form of violence against children, which has not been mentioned, even domestic violence, you know, even regions that are not in conflict have children being abused and violence and all that. So I think this should even get African leaders sworn.
Meanwhile, Ikechukwu urged against other forms of violence and child abuse. Recall that UNICEF has condemned the distressing 70% rise in grave violence against children in Mali, Burkina Faso, and Niger countries plagued by jihadists and other armed groups. Nigerian Labour Congress and Trade Union Congress have declared a nationwide strike beginning from Monday, June 3, 2024, over the tripartite committee's inability to agree on a new minimum wage. The president of the TUC, Festus Osifo, announced a strike at a joint news conference with the leadership of the NLC in Abuja on Friday. According to the Labour leader, the decision follows the expiration of an earlier request to the federal government to cancel all negotiations for a new minimum wage before the end of May. The organized Labour had once pulled out of the negotiation and rejected 2 federal government offers, the latest being the offer to pay 60,000 naira on a minimum wage. Office of the Inspector General of Police has dragged a lawyer, Evaristus Ugwovo, and 3 others to court over allegations of defrauding a woman of 29 million naira and forging documents to sell a house in Abuja. In the amended charge presently before Justice Obiora Iguta of the Federal High Court, Abuja, the Inspector General of Police is the complainant. The IG in the amended 11 counts dated and filed on April 29, 2019 by ACP Simon Lowe also joined Omar Sanda Adamu, Omar Audu, and Adole Christopher Oche, a staff of Bureau of Public Procurement, as second to the 4 defendants respectively. The defendants, who were arraigned in 2018 and granted bail, pleaded not guilty to the charge. Justice Uguta adjourned the matter until July 22nd for trial continuation. Business news. Nigerian Airspace Management Agency has appealed to the federal government to reverse the 50% internal revenue deduction in the interest of Nigerians' airspace safety. In a statement by the agency's managing director and chief executive, Engineer Farouk Umar, said the deduction hinders NEMA's ability to maintain, upgrade, and replace its critical infrastructure. He argued that it was crucial to understand that NEMA operates on the principle of cost recovery as recommended by the International Civil Aviation Organization. Umar argued that the current revenue sharing formula allocates only 22% of the 5% airfare contract charter and cargo sales charges to NAMA, despite its significant capital investment need. Now to international tidbits. Zambia's former First Lady, Esther Lungu, has been arrested on money laundering charges. Her lawyer said Friday, days after her husband claimed he was being targeted as part of a political vendetta. Lungu was held Thursday evening alongside her 2 daughters after being quizzed for hours about properties the family holds in the capital, Lusaka. Lawyer Makebi Zulu told AFP she has now been released on bail. He said the properties, a block of flats in Lusaka's high-end New Kasama district, were bought by Lungu's husband, former President Edgar Lungu, 67. Zambia's anti-drug agency said the one-time First Lady had failed to give a reasonable explanation of how she acquired the flats, which had a construction cost of 41 million kwacha. That's $1.6 million. Edgar Lungu led Copper Ridge Zambia from 2015 to 2021 when he lost an election to President Hakainde Hichilema, who had been a veteran opposition leader before winning the vote by a landslide. Police warned him against turning his morning jogs into political events, and last week he claimed he was practically under house arrest, which authorities denied. Slovak Prime Minister Robert Fico has left hospital and will continue his recovery from a gun attack at his Bratislava home. Fico was shot several times on May 15th as he greeted supporters after an off-site government meeting in the central town of Hadlova. He was taken to a hospital in the nearby city of Banská Bystrica, where he underwent 2 lengthy surgeries and remained in recovery until Thursday. He said he did not have any information regarding Fico's condition, but the hospital had described it Thursday as satisfactory, adding that the rehabilitation process will go very well. On Friday, the hospital thanked Fico for having been a disciplined patient. The accused gunman, identified by Slovak media as 71-year-old poet Juraz Cintula, has been charged with premeditated attempted murder and was remanded in custody. United States President Joe Biden has urged Americans to ensure that his predecessor Donald Trump never returns to the White House as president. Biden said the only way to kick Trump out of the Oval Office is through the ballot box. Trump was president of the U.S. from 2017 to 2021, and he was kicked out of the presidency by Biden. But the former president has signified interest to return to the White House on November 5th, 2024. This is coming after a U.S. court convicted Trump on each of the 34 charges of falsifying business records to hide a payment meant to silence porn star Stormy Daniels. Former U.S. President Donald Trump vows on Friday to appeal his criminal conviction for falsifying business records, saying that his legal team had several grounds to challenge the verdict handed down by the New York jury. Trump was railed against his criminal conviction on Friday, calling his New York trial very unfair, attacking the process as politicized and vowing to appeal. He vowed to challenge his conviction on 34 counts of falsifying business records. Trump claimed that he wanted to testify, as was his legal right, but that he was not permitted to. Legal observers had suggested that he would expose the Republican candidate for the presidential election in November to outsize legal and political jeopardy if prosecutors had cross-examined him. Trump said he was honored to take on the legal establishment, but that it's very bad for my family, it's very bad for my friends and businesses. NATO Chief Jens Stoltenberg has dismissed warnings by Russian President Vladimir Putin that allowing Kyiv to use Western weapons for strikes inside Russian territory might lead to an escalation. Speaking on the silence of a NATO foreign ministers meeting in the Czech capital Prague, Stoltenberg said the alliance had heard such warnings many times before. Putin on Tuesday warned NATO members against allowing Ukraine to fire the weapons into Russia and raised a risk of nuclear war after several allies lifted restrictions imposed on the use of weapons donated by Kyiv. In a marked policy shift, U.S. President Joe Biden has also authorized Kyiv the limited use of U.S.-supplied weapons inside Russia. Biden's decision applies only to targets inside Russia, near the border with the Kharkiv region, where an offensive launched by Moscow on May 10th was overrun some villages. Now on entertainment news. Nigerian singer Kizz Daniel has dedicated his latest song, Double, to his wife, Mijay and Nidube. The brand new single arrives to the music video starring his wife. The couple serenade fans with their on-screen chemistry as they offer them a glimpse into the beautiful bond. The music video, is set to premiere on the same day as the audio release, features intimate and joyful moments between Kizz Daniel and his wife, offering fans a glimpse into the beautiful bond. In a statement, Kizz Daniel said the song is a celebration of love, partnership, and the double joy that comes from sharing life's journey with someone special. Kizz Daniel is one of the leading figures at the forefront of representing Afrobeats on the world stage. Music executive Don Jazzy and Afrobeat megastar Wizkid have resolved any impression of a rift between them following the recent social media fallout. This is as Don Jazzy publicly appreciated Wizkid after he endorsed his signee Arya Starr's Symphomore album. The year one turned 21. Wizkid had taken to his ex-handle to endorse the album, which drops Friday. Sharing the album cover and streaming link, Wizkid wrote, "Superstar, love and evil emojis." Recall that Wizkid shaded Don Jazzy after his signee Ladipo seemingly ridiculed him in an expose for claiming that hip-hop is dead. American rapper Cardi B has finally responded to her colleague Bear, who mocked her following an emotional meltdown on an Instagram live feed. Recall the Bear mocked Cardi B on Drizzy's Beach Door remix, saying she cannot follow the beats. She went on to say she could never turn her phone on to cry on live stream, shading Cardi B, who broke down in tears on an Instagram live session in December 2023 to call out her ex-husband, Offset, for being deceitful. Responding to the remix of Gloria and Megan Thee Stallion's Wannabe remix, Cardi B said she hoped Bia would say what she said in the diss track to her face whenever they met. Here now is ATN Sports News. Uruguayan attacker Edison Cavani has announced the end of his international career at the age of 37. Known as El Matador, Cavani is Uruguay's second all-time leading scorer and third most capped player, with 58 goals in 136 appearances. Cavani made his debut for Uruguay in 2008 and represented his country at 4 World Cups, the first of which in 2010 he reached the semi-finals and was voted the tournament's best player. His crowning glory in sky blue, however, was the 2011 Copa American triumph in neighboring Argentina. Formerly of Napoli, Paris Saint-Germain, and Manchester United, Cavani currently plays for Argentinian club Boca Juniors. Jose Mourinho has reportedly reached an agreement to become the new manager of Fenerbahce. According to journalist Granula Di Marzio, Mourinho is set to replace Ismail Kartal at the Turkish Super League club of a 2-year contract, marking his 11th managerial role. Fenerbahce finished second in the Turkish Super League for the 3rd consecutive year, prompting the club to seek new leadership. Jose Mourinho's appointment follows his departure from Roma in January, where he spent 2.5 years, although there were reports linking Mourinho to Saudi Arabian club Al-Qadish. It appears his next destination is Turkey. Mourinho's upcoming role at Fenerbahce coincides with his recent announcement to join TNT Sports for the coverage of the Champions League final on June 1st. The manager, known as the Special One, expressed his desire to return to management after a 5-month break. And that's the global news for tonight. Before we go, another look at our major stories. Fubara wants residents against the marketing state. Labour begins indefinite strike Monday. Tinubu vows to sack non-performing minister. Nama urges FG to reverse 50% IGR deduction. NATO boss dismisses Putin's nuclear war threat. Kizdano dedicates new song to wife. Mourinho becomes Fenerbahce's new manager. I am Wendy Aguma. Thank you for watching and good evening.